Catherine Stone from Injury Florida Law is back today to help break down workers' compensation by discussing what it really means for you when your case goes to trial. Welcome back, Catherine.
Hello.
So I'm thinking workers' comp, your case goes to trial. You're like sitting pretty.
Well, first of all, they're not technically called trials. They're called final hearings.
Okay.
So one of the first things that I learned when I started doing workers' comp over 15 years ago was there is no jury in workers' comp. It is administrative law, which means it is handled by an administrative law judge. So first thing that I have to explain to clients is there is no jury. It is a judge. And secondly, the judge can only award benefits that have been requested. So in other words, the judge cannot decide how much your case is worth. The judge cannot tell the employer carrier you must pay Mr. or Mrs. claimant X amount of money to settle their case. That's one of the things that I have to have discussions with clients all the time, especially if they don't feel like they're getting a fair deal. Well, I'll just go in front of the judge. Well, it's not that easy. And then secondly, we can only get in front of a judge if I have filed what's called a petition for benefits, claiming, and then there's only certain categories that I can request a benefit: loss in wages, medical care, future medical care, future in lost wages. So there's only certain little categories. But I can't I can't file something just because you think you should get it. And so then it's up to the judge to decide, okay, from looking at the medical testimony and looking at your testimony, Mr. or Ms. Claimant, and just the evidence as a whole, does he have to order, or does the judge order the employer carrier to provide that benefit?
So it's one of those things where I think it's key then, because people must come in there all the time. That's why we're talking about it today, thinking that the judge can kind of impact that. But it's like you've got strict guidelines that you're following.
Correct. And so one of the issues, and I have this recently with several cases, is, as we have talked about before, workers' comp gets to select your doctors. You very rarely get to select your doctors. You can only select your independent medical evaluator, which is basically your expert, or potentially your one-time change if they failed to provide a doctor within 5 days. Those are the only two scenarios. And I consistently have clients that say, well, I don't like the work comp doctor. He or she's not doing enough for me, so I'm going to go to my own doctor, and then brings me reports saying, well, this doctor says this. I can't do a whole lot with that. I can file it, but it's not evidence that the judge has to rely upon. And so that's really, really hard for my clients to understand. So I do try to lay that groundwork in the beginning, in the sense of, this is the system. Unfortunately, we have to play within the rules of the system. And sometimes they like it and sometimes they don't.
You know, Catherine, it seems like so many times when you are here, I've kind of learned through the years that you are in an educational role, if you will.
Every day. I'm constantly, not only am I gathering information, but I'm also educating the client on what we can and what we cannot do.
Because again, right out of the gate, I just said something about a trial, and that's not, I mean, that's even the basics, and I didn't even know that.
Right.
So what do you want people to keep in mind, though, when they are faced with a workers' compensation situation?
I would highly suggest, getting in touch with us to be able to talk about your case, because again, sooner rather than later, so that I can help guide you through the process, because as we've talked about many times now for several years, the process is extensive and it can go on for many, many years in some cases.
Well, there you go. I don't think I can follow up any better than having Catherine on your side. If you're interested in more information or possibly going through a workers' compensation case that could be not going to trial, but going to
final hearing.
There you go. Final hearing. There's the information you see on the screen, so you can get in touch with her today. Thank you again.
Thanks.